You're watching PowerNation.
Hi-ho, silver.
We don't want to spoil the ending, but we earned our stripes today as we put the finishing touches on our 69 GTO Project Henchman and try to keep it between the ditches.
Best day at work ever.
Got the old
I got you.
measuring tape.
Old eagle eye there.
And then calibrate my eyeballs, so.
25 3/4 would be 51.5, right? Ain't that what we said?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now back in the day, if you had a 69 GTO with a spoiler, there was two different styles. You could either get a GTO spoiler or a Judge spoiler.
There's the old spoileration.
One thing a lot of people probably don't know about the GTO Judge is when they first introduced the idea and concept behind it, it was supposed to be like a budget-friendly base model option. But then Pontiac got to talking about it more, and then the more meetings they had about it, they realized, no, we need to make this our top-of-the-line performance package.
Can't get better than perfect.
Yeah.
When I think of a GTO Judge, the spoiler itself is an iconic piece of this vehicle. Aesthetically, it is definitely what sets it apart from just a bone stock vehicle to me.
That's pretty dang close. Horseshoes and hand grenades, man. Just gotta
6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Yeah, just gotta be close.
Could you imagine this was your job at the factory?
That would have been a dream.
I would like to see the factory setup though, how they, gauged each one down the assembly line.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they had some sort of paper template that they just laid down and chunk. Done and done.
All right. Always think about the placement of your spoiler on a trunk lid or deck lid, as some people call it. You need access for the backside for nuts or bolts, whatever the case may be. Put it in the center.
And just kind of even up the edges best you can. Like it? This always makes me nervous.
Glad you're drilling.
Yeah, man, it should work.
Now, our old GTO didn't come with a spoiler from the factory, but we really wanted to put one on it. And that could be kind of a daunting task and a little bit intimidating, especially when the car's already painted. The first thing we did was measure and find the center point of the trunk, going edge to edge. We went ahead and did the same thing to the spoiler. So once we had the center point of both panels, we were able to set it on there. And then afterwards, we laid down some tape for more of a mapping surface again.
Glad you got the sharp bit.
Then we set the spoiler on the deck lid, just kind of eyeballing it, making sure it was straight on both sides. Then we measured the back of the spoiler to the back edge of the deck lid. So once we knew we were centered left to right, up and down, then we went ahead and mapped out the edges of where the spoiler mounts.
Skin moves a lot, you know it.
Yeah, it does. Now, anytime you're drilling through a painted surface, you gotta go slow. At the end of the day, if you get in a hurry, there's a good chance that that paint's gonna pull up with the drill bit. And another way to prevent that from happening is to lay down some masking tape. That's gonna hold down all those layers of clear coat, base coat, and everything. As that drill's going through, it'll just keep it in place.
5/16.
Thank you, sir. Really no going back now.
Too late. Woo, woo.
Why'd you make me do this?
Glad you're doing that.
Well, that was fun. Let's not ever do it again.
Let's see what your handiwork looks like. Adding the spoiler to the rear, while it's not a factory Judge package, it adds to the aesthetics of a Judge. We wanted something menacing, low, and sleek. We added our own touches to finish it off the way we wanted to. Hole number 1 looks great.
Hole number 2 is always the messy one.
All right.
Stick some gaskets down.
Thank you, sir.
And the
Put the short end in.
Yep. Now the GTO spoiler was a little bit taller and a little bit wider, so it just didn't flow with the car as well. So that's actually why we decided to go with the Judge style spoiler, because it's a little more mainstream, looks a lot more sharp, and fits the attitude of the car. All right, moment of truth.
All right. We gotta find somebody to blame. It don't fit.
Blame the guy with the drill bit. You're on my side. How about yours? Ooh, what do you think, buddy?
It's killer, man.
Yeah, I'll grab some hardware and we'll mount it permanently.
Finish her up.
I don't think we're gonna do much better than that.
We're going back now, buddy.
Up next, we get into a sticky situation as we lay down some custom stripes.
A little extra on my end. Back in the 60s, it was all about psychedelics and appealing to a bold, rebellious group of teenagers. And that's kind of what Pontiac was going with when they put this stripe package on their Pontiac GTOs. Based on how you ordered the car, you could get a different variation of the colors of stripes and the color of the car itself. It's looking pretty good to me.
Yeah, I love the door fender for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah, because it is wider here. So,
That ought to do it.
all right.
You guys have seen us use Phoenix graphics on a number of projects in the past, including our 83 Hurst Olds and our Bandit Trans Am. No going back now, buddy.
Nope. Little goes a long way.
Some good stuff, though. And now we've partnered with them again to add a few custom touches to our 69 GTO. Now we wanted a traditional Judge stripe, but not traditional Judge stripe coloring. Go ahead and layer up there, big guy. So we asked them to modify the design just a little bit to accent the bronze on our wheels. Don't stick, I'm not ready yet.
When a vehicle's outside in the sun, panel gaps tend to expand and contract with the metal itself. So it's super important when you bridge the gap with your vinyl stripe, make sure you have some relief cuts to keep it from splitting or pulling when the vehicle goes out in the heat. It's like joints in the concrete, guys. You gotta plan your cuts so your vinyl can move with your vehicle.
Now when you're laying graphics on a curved surface, it helps to kind of pull on the vinyl to stretch it and help it maintain contact. I like the color on it though.
Love it.
It's almost kind of the same bronze goldish that the Trans Ams had, the fire chickens.
Uh-huh.
Basically, you can stretch that inner radius of the curve before you lay it down, and that'll kind of help relax that position instead of constantly having to pull against the edge. And in theory, this should keep those edges from curling up on you down the road. A good swoop up on it.
I just want to see from over here.
Oh yeah, we got it right on the lines.
Love it.
I'll let you do the honors on the back half.
Got it.
Now, 69 Judge also would have came with additional decals on the front fender and the rear spoiler that actually said the words "The Judge" on them. And we threw around doing that idea also, but we felt like it was just going to be too much. Besides, we're not building a Judge clone, we're building a Henchman. It's perfect.
Looks awesome, buddy.
Dude, that looks killer. That changed the whole look of the car right there.
100%.
Now you just gotta do the other side.
Great color combo.
Matches the wheels. Goes well with the black chrome. Yeah, perfect accent. But I love it. Coming up, if you can't buy it, build it. We cut a few corners and design a one-of-a-kind component.
They look good, man.
When our GTO first rolled into the shop, it was basically a project that somebody had started but never finished. The original drivetrain and engine were long gone, and front sheet metal was off, and all the trim and everything was just in boxes. So the former owner kind of had a cataloging issue, but as we dug through the boxes and everything, we found out something really cool. This car came with front cornering lamps, which is a super rare option on these cars. Basically how they work is you'll kick on your lights at night, and then when you go to use your turn signals, it would brightly flash into the ditch so that you could kind of see around the corners a little bit better. So this is what we had. We had the housings and the lenses, but we did not have the bezels. Now, the original design of the bezel had kind of a convex and concave shape to it and was a little bit rounded, but at the end of the day, without having the original piece, it was really going to be hard to recreate that. So it kind of worked out in the end because this is a little bit of a custom car anyway, so we decided to just go with a flat piece, and man, it sits in there nice and flush and just flows with the rest of the car. So before we sent it out to SynCut, we had everything dialed in down to 1/1000th of an inch. From there, we generated a CAD file that gave us all the dimensions, the material, and the finish that we wanted on our final product. Once they had that information, it was just a matter of a few days, and this thing showed up in bare steel, and then we just color matched it to match the rest of the car. Now, we felt pretty confident that our measurements were dialed in, but there's only really one way to find out.
Let's see how I'm gonna get this down in here.
Yeah, sorry, I know it's a tight squeeze.
You got the front one in too?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna let go so I can get the nut.
Okay.
It's important to decide up front whether I'm building a period correct car or I'm gonna build something that's a one-off that I'm looking to do. A show car, if you will, or a driver.
I had to push on the housing a little bit.
Go gadget arm.
Oh no,
There we go.
thought it went into the abyss.
Lost forever. So part availability, part type, these are all things that come into play when choosing your project. You got it?
It's important to know the history of the vehicle you're restoring because it can actually help you in the long run when it comes to sourcing parts. General Motors is a great platform for that.
Housing needs to come.
Which way up?
No, like towards the outside. Like
Specifically like our GTO, it falls in line with the 68 to 72 GMA bodies.
All right, go right ahead.
Let's say you need a passenger side door. The GTO, the Tempest, and the Le Mans all shared the same doors, they were just different trim packages, and the price points are actually different. And so knowing your history and what parts intermingle with one another can actually save you some money.
For our specific build, the GTO, we have front cornering lights. It is a limited edition option in these vehicles that were just not available. So we had to figure out whether we were gonna make some patch panels, weld them up, re-body work them, repaint the fenders, or what alternatives can we have? Maybe even 10, 15 years ago, guys, we didn't even have these options. But today, we did something we haven't done before. We drew some patterns, we sent them over to a company, we had some one-off brackets cut for this vehicle, instead of welding up a limited edition fender.
Oh yeah.
Good?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, those cornering lamps are definitely the cherry on top of the sundae.
They look good, man. Even better than the factory bezels would have.
After a year's worth of work, we finally finished our GTO. Honestly, we've probably got about 2,000 hours into this thing, and there's not a nut, bolt, or screw that we haven't touched. Now, we couldn't really go with a chalk mark style restoration because we didn't have the original engine. Sure looks good, buddy.
Almost complete.
Wanna do a quick light check?
Let's do it.
So we kind of threw around a few different ideas, and we decided that we wanted to be able to jump in this car, bump the key, and go coast to coast if we wanted to.
Headlights,
Headlights and...
high beam.
Yep.
Perfect. In addition to our upgrades, guys, we decided that we wanted a car to perform and we wanted something that we could daily drive if we wanted to, track ready at any moment.
Headlights and marker lights. Let's do left turn signal.
Left turn signal,
Yep.
right turn signal.
Yep.
Excellent.
We decided to go with a 5.3 long block LS from ATK. We also added in a FiTech Ultimate LS intake, throttle body, and fuel management system. And so now we don't have to worry about any kind of tuning issues. The more we drive this thing, the better it's gonna drive.
Check out the rear.
Yep, wanna hit the brakes for me?
Brake lights.
Yep.
So we decided to go with RideTech. We used adjustable coilovers front and rear, upper and lower tubular control arms in the front and rear sway bars, and four-wheel disc brakes. Left signal,
Yep.
right turn signal.
Yep. Another one of my favorite features of this car is the trim. Now, we wanted to do something kind of different. We knew we wanted to murder it out, but we didn't just want to go and just paint everything black because that's kind of overdone. And we also didn't want to just put the old chrome back on it, so we wanted to put our own flair and spin on it. So we took everything over to advanced plating and they dipped it in black chrome, and this is definitely the icing on the cake, and it's one of the most complimented features of this entire build. Sweet. Let's hit the road.
While we had a vision in mind for this build, gonna be awesome. our process was fluid. So a lot of the decisions that we made were on the fly or throughout the process. So we have a one-off GTO build that you're not going to find anywhere else. We couldn't be happier.
Between the black chrome, the custom stripe, the wheels, the spoiler, there may be a bunch of GTO judges on the road, but none of them look like this thing.
Hang on to your seats because we're finally pounding the pavement with Project Henchman.
Whew, that'll rattle your sphincter.
First impression, this thing rock and roll.
Best day at work ever.
Hi-ho, silver. Whew, that'll rattle your sphincter. You know, sitting in this field of rusty old Pontiacs, I can't think of a better storybook ending for our old GTO. A lot of people will walk through a place like this or drive past a place like this and all they see is a bunch of rusty, junky metal. But for guys like me, Brian, and Tommy, we see the potential in each one of these cars. No matter how far gone something is, with enough time, money, and effort, you can bring one of these vehicles back to life.
Performance, fuel economy, power. It's all right here. You know, days like today, guys, where you get to actually drive your finished project, whether it's a weekend warrior or something you've been working on for 10 years, 5 years, whatever. When you're driving down the road, 2-lane, windows down, 80 degrees, sunny, and running through the gears, it's just a feeling that you can't describe. You know, it's what really makes you a gearhead, really makes you appreciate the fruits of your labor.
This old car don't drive like an old one. Man, it just feels good.
Building a car like this takes a lot of work, but it's really and truthfully a labor of love. Now, whenever we drug that car into the shop, it looked pretty decent and it still had a good bit of work that we needed to do to it. So for us, that was the excellent opportunity for us to modernize this car. With the late model LS, overdrive 5-speed manual, because you gotta have that. Just an automatic slush box isn't gonna give you that thrill of the shift. And then we also did several other upgrades with better suspension, better brakes, and so on and so on. But we didn't really want to change the exterior shape of the car. We wanted to pay homage to what the premier muscle car of the Pontiac division was, which would be the Judge, of course, and kind of put our flair on it. And I do believe we knocked it out of the park as far as that goes.
Anytime I drive one of these old cars, I'm transported back to that time as I was a kid. And I think a lot of people can relate to it in that sense. It like feeds your soul in a way. We had a pretty good blank canvas to start with. It was nowhere near as rough as any of these cars, but you know, it's basically missing its front face and its drivetrain and a few other trinkets. We were still able to bring it back to life with our own vision. But the car turned out better than we could have imagined. It's got its own character, it's got its own presence, and it definitely gets a lot of eyeballs going down the road.
I can't believe a muscle car from back in the day can perform like this today, riding around up and down the highway. It's crazy. There's a lot of satisfaction in actually taking a vehicle, whether it's from a salvage yard or a donor vehicle that you purchase for somebody, or even a driver, and seeing it all the way to the end. You know, there's a lot to be said for blood, sweat, tears, and hard work, and something that you're super passionate about.
Just out enjoying these things is what it's all about. I tell people all the time, just drive it, man. Just drive it.
I kind of wish we had known about this place a little bit earlier, because we'd have been able to find our cornering lights we were looking for. But you know what? The car still turned out great. It's got its own character and its own spin on a otherwise unique vehicle.
Walking around a place like this, I'm automatically transported back to my childhood. When I was 6 or 7 years old, I was out with my dad in places like this pulling parts, and now here I am, 35 years old, still doing it. You know, that's the great thing about what we do. This is, for us, it's not a job, it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. This is who we are 365 days a year, 24/7. We're car guys, this is what we do.
Man, this thing handles like a dream, like sitting on your couch. Something to be said, guys, for 80 degrees, windows down, 5-speed, and a 69 GTO.
If I ever decided to run away to Mexico or Canada, I'm taking this thing. It definitely gives you kind of that sense of freedom in a way.
Pretty proud of this car. It's a performance car built to be enjoyed. Go out and have some fun. You know, like ripping through the gears, kind of carving some corners out on the curb. Some of it's conversation, trading war stories between each other, figuring out how you did this or how they did that or what you used to do, or man, let me tell you about what we're planning to do in these things. That's what it's about. Yes, sir. That's what it's all about.